Alexander Lehman Sidney Woodworth, who went by Alex, was born on January 1, 1994, to John and Kimberly in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. Alex was described as an intelligent and deeply curious individual who was always passionate about learning. In 2017, he earned his bachelor's degree in philosophy and biology and had dreams of pursuing a master's degree in philosophy at the University of Oregon. At 24, Alex lived in the small town of Osceola, Wisconsin, with a roommate. He was always known for his friendly demeanor and love for deep philosophical discussions, and he had a unique habit of studying philosophy even at local bars. He worked as a barista at Racy DeLine's Coffee Lounge in Eau Claire, and also as a substitute teacher, aiming to one day become a professor. In late 2017, Alex met 22-year-old Monica Kay, who had recently changed her name to Ezra McCandless after moving to Eau Claire. Monica was known for her spontaneity and charm, traits that intrigued Alex when she approached him at the coffee shop to chat about his studies. At the time, Monica was dating Jason Mingle, a National Guard medic. The trio, along with Jason's best friend John Hanson, developed a complicated friendship. However, behind the scenes, Monica was involved with all three men, creating a tangled web of secrets and betrayal. In February 2018, while Jason was away for military training, Monica accused his best friend John Hanson of sexual assault. Jason, determined to support her, reported the alleged assault to the police, prompting an investigation. During the investigation, Alex revealed that he had been intimate with Monica during Jason's absence, and that Monica had admitted to willingly being with John. This disclosure complicated her claim of assault and led to tension among the four. When Jason returned, he discovered Monica's infidelity through messages on her phone. An argument involving Alex, Jason, and John ensued at the coffee shop and was witnessed by several patrons. The fallout was significant. Monica, feeling exposed and rejected, moved back to her mother's house in Stanley, Wisconsin. Despite her own actions, she blamed Alex for the end of her relationship with Jason and was determined to win Jason back. On March 22, 2018, Monica returned to Eau Claire, surprising Jason at Racy DeLine's Coffee Lounge. Her unannounced visit seemed odd, especially after exchanging hundreds of messages with Jason the previous night without mentioning her plans. She claimed she was there to show Alex some of her writings. Jason's suspicion was piqued, and he followed her to Alex's house, where an uncomfortable confrontation unfolded. Jason, observing Monica's car outside, paced for 45 minutes before entering. The tension was palpable, and Jason suggested they continue their conversation in a public place. The trio left the house only to be interrupted by the arrival of two police cruisers. A passerby had reported Jason's pacing, prompting a welfare check. The dashcam footage showed Alex talking to an officer beside Monica's car while Jason explained his concerns to another officer. After the police left, Jason spoke briefly to Alex and Monica before leaving on his bicycle. Sadly, that was the last time he would see Alex alive. 3 hours later, a dairy farmer near Eau Claire was startled when a young woman, barefoot and covered in blood and mud, knocked on his door. It was Monica, visibly shaken, claiming she had been attacked in her car. The farmer called 911, and Monica, who had "boy" carved into her arm, was taken to the hospital. She claimed her attacker had tried to sexually assault her and carved the word as a taunt. The next day, investigators searching the area found Alex's body in the back seat of Monica's 2003 Chevy Impala, abandoned and stuck on a muddy dirt road. He had suffered 16 stab wounds to the head, neck, torso, and groin. Blood evidence suggested the initial attack occurred outside the car, and Alex had tried to climb into the back seat as he bled. Monica's story began to unravel. At the hospital, a doctor determined that the wounds on her arm were self-inflicted. When interviewed again, she claimed Alex had attacked her and that she had grabbed the knife in self-defense. However, forensic evidence contradicted her version of events. Alex had no defensive wounds, and most of the blood was outside the car, indicating a surprise attack. Additionally, it was implausible for Alex, who was right-handed, to have carved the word boy on her arm due to the position they were sitting in the vehicle. At trial, witnesses testified about Monica's erratic behavior and her desire to win Jason back. Dashcam footage from the day of the murder showed Alex and Monica together, seemingly calm, hours before the brutal killing. Her father testified that he had given Monica the knife found at the scene for protection, and DNA evidence confirmed that both her and Alex's blood were on it. Monica admitted to carving the word into her own arm, though she couldn't explain why she did it. Throughout the trial, she displayed little emotion.
At a certain point in your life, did you feel that being identified as female did not fit you?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you explain how you view your gender?
In high school, I found that I felt more comfortable being masculine. It was how I identified at the time. Was my alignment was very masculine.
What about now?
Now I'm fluid. So I lean now more towards my femininity as a woman.
Okay. And has this fluidity been going on for a period of time?
Yes, for a few years now.
Okay. I'm going to ask you what might seem like a silly question, but just so people knows, have you been doodling in court?
Yes.
Can you explain why?
Well, I've been doodling in court because there's times when this experience is very traumatic, and it helps center me so that I can breathe through it and I can focus on something at the time so that I can breathe.
Witnesses described her as attention-seeking, a behavior that was evident during the trial as she appeared excited and animated, particularly when Jason was present.
Is the state ready with its next witness?
Yes, the state calls Jason Mengel. Mr. Mengel, if you stand right here, the clerk will swear you in.
Go ahead and raise your right hand for me. Your right hand.
Nope.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may have a seat up there in the green chair.
Mr. Mengel, can you please state your full name and spell both your first and last name for the court reporter, please?
Jason, Leemengel.
It's Jason Lee Mengel.
Yes, Roger.
Where do you work?
At the moment, I was working for FedEx, but I'm going on a deployment to the Ukraine, so I
you're
guess
not
the Army
current-
owns
you're
me.
currently taking a leave?
I took the month off.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you're going on a deployment to Ukraine. What's your military status?
I'm on Title 10 right now, I believe.
Are you a medic in the military?
Roger, yeah.
And just because I don't use Roger in my normal
Oh, yes,
course
affirmative.
of
Yes.
work, that's a yes, correct?
Yes.
Monica stated she changed her name to Ezra McCandless to honor the protagonist of Into the Wild, Christopher McCandless. However, it was clear she only knew the movie and not the actual story behind it. In the end, the jury found Monica guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 50 years. Genai Coleman was born on October 2, 1967, in Elkhart, Indiana. She graduated with a degree in teaching and dedicated her life to educating young minds. In addition to her teaching career, Genai joined the Navy, where she served as a certified military police officer and reservist. Beyond her professional achievements, she was a devoted mother who adopted 3 daughters from foster care. By the age of 40, Genai was living in Atlanta and was a cherished elementary school teacher in DeKalb County. Her loved ones described her as a caring, energetic, and strong woman who was excited to soon become a grandmother. On the evening of July 18, 2008, Genai went to a mall in Gwinnett County, just outside of Atlanta, to pick up one of her daughters. Around 9 p.m., while sitting in her gold Dodge Stratus and scrolling through her phone, Genai unknowingly encountered a dangerous individual. A man walked out of a nearby gas station and, without any apparent reason, approached her car. Witnesses later recounted seeing him open her car door, shoot her, and drag her from the vehicle before speeding away in it. Genai was rushed to the hospital, but the injuries were too severe and she tragically passed away. Witness accounts described the suspect as a black male, approximately 6 feet tall, between the ages of 40 and 50, and wearing a green and white shirt. Police began an immediate search for her car, hoping it would lead them to the killer. 12 hours after the attack, Genai's car was discovered 40 miles away in a Forest Park diner parking lot. The car was processed for fingerprints and DNA evidence, and detectives found a cigarette butt inside. This was a critical clue because Genai did not smoke or allow smoking in her car. The DNA evidence was sent for comparison with local and federal databases. Investigators turned to surveillance footage from the gas station across from the crime scene. The footage showed a man who matched the suspect's description buying alcohol and a pack of Bronson Light Long cigarettes, the same brand found in Genai's car. Despite showing the video to Genai's family and local business owners, police hit a dead end until DNA from the cigarette butt came back as a match to Donald Eugene Smith, a man with a criminal record that included armed robbery. Further investigation revealed that Donald had recently worked at a local restaurant, Legal Seafoods, where employees recognized him from the surveillance video. His phone records also placed him near the crime scene on the night of the murder. When police confronted Donald, he denied any involvement, claiming he was not the man in the video and did not own a shirt like the suspects.
Have you ever met this woman before in your life?
No, I haven't. I have never seen this woman before.
Oh.
Ever.
Have you ever seen this vehicle before or been in it?
No, I have not. That is definitely not me. I don't have a shirt like that. I can't even see the face of the person. That's not me.
Okay, so that's not you.
No, definitely not me.
That vehicle you said you've never seen before? Mm-hmm. And the woman you've never seen before?
Yes.
Okay. Your DNA ended up in that car.
That's interesting because my DNA couldn't have been in that car because I've never been in that car.
Oh, no. Okay. The phone number, okay, that you listed as a contact number, okay, was in communication in that store at the time that that person's in the video. Make sense? And then your cell phone number at the time was 404-200.
Correct? No, that was not mine. That was my brother's phone number.
Okay, does he live in Gwinnett County?
Yes, he does.
What's your brother's name, sir?
Ronald. Donald Ronald.
Is he older, younger? Does he live at the same address as your parents?
He's my twin.
Twin?
Yeah.
Like born at the same time or identified?
Like born at the same time, like identical twins. Yeah. Okay. This becomes real interesting because, as a matter of fact, DNA is split between 10 twins. It's indistinguishable. They share DNA, identical twins. I've never been in that car.
But then came a twist. Donald revealed that he had an identical twin brother, Ronald Smith. Identical twins share the same DNA, but not the same fingerprints. Donald's parents were brought in and identified Ronald as the person in the surveillance footage. On February 6, 2010, Ronald was arrested, and both brothers' fingerprints were sent to the crime lab for comparison. During Ronald's interview, he refused to cooperate, but did agree to smoke a cigarette during the interrogation, the same Bronson Light brand found in Genai's car. Phone records showed that Ronald's phone had pinged off towers near the crime scene that night. Confronted with mounting evidence, Ronald eventually confessed. He claimed he had been drinking and needed a vehicle, and when he attempted to carjack Genai, the gun accidentally went off as she pleaded for her life.
Like all of a sudden,
this is like all of a sudden on me. And I'm gonna say something.
Feel more comfortable over there?
I'm just gonna give you your space. Guilty. I don't know why. It was an accident. It was an air trigger.
However, a witness said he used a derogatory term against her before pulling the trigger, which contradicted his story of an accidental shooting. Ronald was charged with felony murder, carjacking, and possession of a firearm. He pleaded not guilty, but was convicted on October 6, 2012. He was sentenced to life in prison for murder, plus an additional 25 years for carjacking and firearm possession. Genai Coleman, a beloved teacher, soldier, and mother, was taken far too soon. As of November 2024, Ronald remains behind bars, serving his sentence for the senseless crime that ended her life. Lilie James was born in May 2002 in Australia to parents Peter and Jamie. From an early age, she was known for her bright and energetic spirit. In 2020, she graduated from Danebank Anglican School for Girls and was described as bubbly, full of life, and deeply connected to her family, especially her parents and brother Max. At 21, Lilie was living in Sans Souci, New South Wales, and balancing a busy life that included her part-time role as a water polo coach at St. Andrew's Cathedral School. It was there that she met 24-year-old Paul Tyson, a cricket and hockey coach and a former student of the school. Initially, Lilie and Paul developed a friendly rapport and began spending time together. But after about a week, she realized she only wanted to be friends, and Paul seemed to accept this. At least, that's what she thought. Lilie would have no idea that Paul was hiding dark and dangerous tendencies beneath his laid-back exterior. On October 25, 2023, Lilie took the train to St. Andrew's Cathedral Academy in Sydney for what she expected to be an ordinary evening of coaching. However, what happened next was captured on CCTV. Around 8:30 p.m., Lilie arrived at the school, unpacked her things, and headed to the bathroom to change into her water polo uniform. Unbeknownst to her, Paul was following closely behind. He cornered her in one of the stalls and viciously attacked her with a hammer, repeatedly striking her until she succumbed to her injuries. Paul then stayed with her lifeless body for over an hour, using her phone to send messages to her father before fleeing the scene. Those messages that appeared to come from Lilie read, "Don't ask why or call. Please come to the school now and pick me up." When he asked if she was okay, he received another message, "All good, just come, trouble." Paul was using Lilie's phone in an attempt to lure Jamie to the school so that he would discover his daughter's body. While Jamie rushed to the school, Lilie's mother began contacting her daughter's friends, including Paul, to see if they knew what was happening, and everyone responded except for Paul. Jamie arrived at the school and texted Lilie once again, this time to ask where she was, but received no reply. Once inside, he found her belongings, but still couldn't find her. Meanwhile, after fleeing the school, Paul was seen on CCTV outside the home of one of Lilie's close friends, pacing back and forth. He disposed of the hammer in a bin at Diamond Bay Reserve around 8:47 p.m. and left the area an hour later. By 11:30 p.m., he made an anonymous call to authorities, informing them that Lilie's body could be found in the gym bathroom before abruptly hanging up. Police rushed to the school, and Jamie, who was still there, was informed by police that they were looking for Lilie, who was now missing. It wouldn't take long to discover her body in the girls' bathroom. Jamie was then notified and had to break the devastating news to his wife and son that their beloved Lilie was never coming home. The next day, officers discovered Paul's backpack, which contained his belongings and the hammer used in the attack. Police were unfortunately unable to locate Paul. Days later, his body was discovered at the base of a cliff, and it was apparent he had taken his own life. A forensic psychologist later suggested that Paul likely exhibited severe narcissistic traits, leading him to react violently to rejection. A former girlfriend came forward and described his erratic behavior during their breakup, reinforcing this theory. Lilie James was a bright and loving young woman whose life was cut tragically short. As of November 2024, her family and community continue to mourn her loss, hoping to raise awareness about the warning signs of dangerous behavior and the importance of protecting those who may be at risk. Meredith Emily Lane was born on December 12, 1989, in Chamblee, Georgia, to parents Jean and Debbie Lane. After high school, she enrolled at the University of Texas in Dallas, and that's where she met fellow student Spencer Height. The two lived in the same apartment complex and quickly began dating. Meanwhile, Meredith graduated and secured a position at the Coca-Cola Company, where she worked in various customer-facing roles, eventually becoming a merchandising supervisor. Then, in September 2011, she and Spencer married and later exchanged vows again on a Caribbean cruise, surrounded by friends, including James Dunlop, Spencer's best man, and Ryan Morgan, one of his groomsmen. Unfortunately, the couple's relationship began to deteriorate when Spencer lost his job doing contract work for Texas Instruments around the time they bought their first home. His excessive drinking worsened, causing further strain in their marriage. Meredith's parents noticed his troubling behavior, which included isolating himself in his room to drink while they visited. Initially known for his free-spirited nature, love of dogs, art, and Renaissance fairs, Spencer's darker side soon emerged. His drinking escalated, and he developed a short temper and eventually turned abusive. Meredith tried to help him and encouraged him to seek treatment, but he refused. Their marriage crumbled, and in 2017, Meredith asked Spencer to move out. He went to live with his friend and best man, James Dunlop. 4 months later, Meredith officially filed for divorce, while Spencer grew increasingly resentful, expressing his anger on social media with posts that disparaged her. Despite their turbulent history, the separation was still difficult for Meredith as she tried to focus on reclaiming her independence. Spencer, on the other hand, wallowed in self-pity and allowed his anger to fester. At age 27, Meredith was living in Plano, Texas, where she had a love for Renaissance festivals and was known for attending them in full costume. She lived by the motto, "Love your life and give love to everyone on your journey." Unfortunately, Spencer did not express the same sentiment. On September 10th, Spencer's rage reached its peak. Already intoxicated, he walked into a local bar where he was a regular and began drinking heavily. Bartender Lindsay Glass noted his strange behavior and became concerned when he started spinning a large knife on the bar and showing off a gun. Spencer began muttering about needing to put someone in their place and mentioned having dirty work to do. Lindsay sent her manager Timothy Banks a text message describing Spencer as psycho and drunk. Although the manager eventually made Spencer put the weapons in his car, the warning signs were clear. At 7:37 p.m., Spencer left the bar, followed by Lindsay and Timothy, who watched as he got into his vehicle and drove off. They then called 911 at 8:03 p.m. to report that Spencer was intoxicated and had a firearm. Meredith, meanwhile, was hosting her first solo gathering at her home, a Sunday cookout with friends to watch the Dallas Cowboys game. Guests included her close friends Maya Bass, Olivia Defner, James Dunlop, Daryl Hawkins, Anthony Cross, Ryan Morgan, Caleb Edwards, and others. Spencer arrived at Meredith's home, interrupting the peaceful gathering. A neighbor would later recount hearing Meredith say, "Do you really have to do this?" Spencer then entered the house and opened fire. Police arrived around the same time, heard the gunfire, rushed into the home, and shot and killed Spencer. When all was said and done, Meredith, Spencer, and 7 of her friends were dead. An investigation revealed Spencer had brought multiple weapons, including a pistol, a semi-automatic rifle, and a knife. Further searches of his apartment uncovered more firearms and ammunition. It became clear that Spencer had planned the attack, targeting even close friends like James Dunlop and Ryan Morgan, who had once stood by him during better times. 19 months after the massacre, the bartender, Lindsay Glass, was charged with a misdemeanor for serving alcohol to an intoxicated person. Her defense highlighted that she had raised concerns, contacted her manager, and even followed Spencer to his car. Ultimately, the charges were dismissed. Meredith Emily Lane's life was cut short in a senseless act of violence, but her legacy as a beacon of love and kindness continues to be remembered by all who knew her. Thomas Meixner, who went by Tom, was born on July 29, 1970, and raised in Rockville, Maryland. Tom was described as an intelligent and kind individual who was always dedicated to his family and his faith. He was known for being a world-renowned scholar and mentor and was deeply admired in both his professional and personal life. At 52 years old, Tom was living in Arizona, where he held the distinguished position of professor and department head of hydrology and atmospheric sciences at the University of Arizona. He and his wife, Kathleen, shared a life enriched by their children. Tom was a man of many passions. He was an Eagle Scout and later a Scoutmaster for his son's Boy Scout troop. He also had a love for the outdoors, enjoying gardening, hiking, camping, and skiing, a cherished tradition in the Meixner family. Tom's academic achievements were impressive. He earned bachelor's degrees in the history of science and soil and water conservation from the University of Maryland, College Park in 1992. His thirst for knowledge took him to the University of Arizona, where he completed his PhD in hydrology and water resources in 1999. After a stint as an assistant professor at the University of California, Riverside from 1999 to 2004, he returned to the University of Arizona in 2005, where he eventually became a full-time professor in 2015 and department head in 2019. His research and expertise in water conservation and desert water issues solidified his reputation as a brilliant scientist. However, beneath the surface of his academic environment, tensions were brewing. In 2021, a student named Murad Dervish became enraged after receiving a poor grade. This sparked a wave of harassment and threats directed toward faculty at the school. Some of these threats were anti-Semitic, with Dervish accusing Tom and others of being part of a supposed conspiracy against him, even though Tom was raised Roman Catholic. Dervish was eventually expelled and barred from campus, but that did not stop his dangerous fixation. On October 5, 2022, the day took a tragic turn. Dervish, having purchased an automatic rifle and ammunition, entered the Harsbarger building, where Tom was located, shortly before 2 p.m. With calculated intent, he chased Tom down a hallway and into a classroom, where he mercilessly shot him multiple times. After the attack, he fled the scene in a van, initiating a pursuit that ended 3 hours later on Highway 85 as he attempted to flee into Mexico. Police used a pit maneuver to stop the vehicle and were able to take him into custody. He was then arrested and charged with Tom's murder. During the trial, his defense claimed he was psychotic, paranoid, and delusional, and wanted him to be found guilty on the basis of insanity. However, the jury rejected this argument and found him guilty of first-degree murder. He was then sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole and received an additional 14 years for related charges, including aggravated assault, burglary, and endangerment. In the aftermath, it emerged that the university had been aware of Dervish's threats but had not adequately managed the risk. A faculty report exposed the institution's failure to implement an effective safety plan. Since Tom's tragic death, the university has taken steps to overhaul its safety protocols and improve communication, ensuring better protection for everyone on campus. The legacy of Tom Meixner remains one of profound scholarship, compassion, and an enduring impact on all who knew him.